All right, guys, welcome back to day 9 of Unit 3. I was excited last week because it looked like our Zoom lesson was quite the success. And I'm excited to actually rejoin you guys on Tuesday for another Zoom lesson because I had a lot of fun interacting with you guys while teaching the lesson. But let's go ahead and get to our YouTube lesson for today. And as we can see, guys, we left off on page 8 on what we call the waterfalls. And we are going to continue on finishing up at sinkholes today, talking about water features and structures that are created by water in the ground. Just keep in mind, guys, again, I'm still accepting. We have the most recent notebook check. So please have that completed by tomorrow. I'll be grading those. And yeah, make sure you got the notebook check up to date and make sure everything else, any of the other assignments you've got are up to date as well. Let's look here for our Go Blue questions. Oh, and just so you guys know, again, we'll have a unit quiz this Friday. Number 1, how do waterfalls form? Number 2, what are karst features and what are 3 examples of them? And number 3, why are they common in Florida? When you think of the word karst, what do you guys think that means again? What does karst mean? Okay, we'll actually gotta learn that in a little bit. Okay. Number 1, how do waterfalls form? No, it's not just water running off of a cliff, okay? It's actually when there's 2 types of rock in the ground below the water, and if one of those rocks are softer than the other, it can form a massive waterfall, or it can form a waterfall of any kind, right? So, again, when softer rock erodes faster than the tougher rock, it's gonna form a cliff, which is caused by the faster eroding softer rock. Number 2, karst features, okay? Examples, okay, karst are dissolved openings or holes in the ground. So when you think of karst, I want you to think of a sponge, think of Swiss cheese, anything with holes in it. So what are some examples of those? Sinkholes, caverns, another word for caves, lakes, springs, and natural bridges are examples, guys. So again, dissolved openings, holes in the ground, sinkholes, caverns, lakes, springs, and natural bridges. And then number 3, guys, why is Florida the top place for these things? Why is Florida such a big deal for these type of things? Well, because Florida gets lots of rain and all of our ground is made up of limestone. Limestone dissolves really easily. We get a lot of rain. It's a recipe for a ground that's like a sponge, ground that has a lot of holes in it. And a big reason why we're the sinkhole capital of the United States. So that is the info for that, guys, for page, our Go Blue, which was on page 9. Do make sure to have that for future notebook quizzes and notebook checks and quizzes. Okay, moving on here, guys. Update your table of contents. Page 9 and 10 are going to be deposition. Not sure if we put that in already or not, but I'm going to go and give you a moment to get that down as usual. And let's go ahead and move on to page 8 where we left off last time. And I actually have a quick question for you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay. Our question of the day includes this. Valleys primarily form from water and gravity erosion. Water and gravity erosion. Is this A, true, or is this B, false? A, true, or B, false? Think about it. Again, I'm talking about V-shaped valleys from last time. This is from our lesson from last time, V-shaped valleys. The answer is going to be B, false. Why? Because they form from water and wind, not water and gravity. And again, don't get that mixed up with U-shaped valleys, which are formed by glacial erosion. U-shaped valleys, which are formed by glacial erosion. Let's move on, guys. We're going back to page 8. Please write down what's highlighted. You know what? We kind of already wrote this down for our Go Blue, but I would like you to have this down. Okay, so what are karst features common in Florida? It's anything with holes in the ground, openings in the ground, passages in the ground. And again, why does this happen? It's because rock dissolves when it rains, and if that rock is really dissolvable, like our limestone in Florida, it's going to give you a lot of those sinkholes. It's going to give you those caves and those openings, right? So again, it includes caverns, caves, sinkholes, lakes, springs, and natural bridges are all the examples of karst features. Moving on to caverns, okay? Go ahead and make our next section caverns. Only write down what's highlighted, guys. Again, these are all examples of water erosion. The title of our page 8 should be Water Erosion, guys. And if you need more room, go to the next page and just call it page 8B. That way we keep everything in line with our our table of contents. Okay. This is an area where water recedes, areas of rock in the ground, so underground tunnels, underground openings. And these are also known as caves. Let's take a break now. I want you guys on page 7B to just write down some interesting features that you see from the world's largest cavern. Again, the world's largest cavern. Sorry about that. And it was only recently discovered, not even like that old, not even like known for that long. And this cave is located in Vietnam. Very beautiful, incredible structures and features in this cave. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little glimpse of this cave, but it is your responsibility to make sure you watch all of this video to at least write down 4 interesting features about this cave.
Ranger Z takes us to one of the most magnificent buried treasures deep inside a
big crevice. You have to crawl to get into the biggest cave in the world. Okay. Then it opens up and drops down and down. Oh, sorry. This place does not look real. At the bottom, I feel like I've landed on another planet. A subterranean rushing river. Yes! Now I find myself in Mother Nature's sculpture garden, filled with prehistoric boulders and stalagmites, gigantic columns built up from calcium deposited by dripping water.
I am way down here. From the perspective you can see me, about 400 feet below the top of one of the world's largest caverns. It is inside a mountain in central Vietnam and was only found a couple of decades ago.
After a grueling hour, an illuminating light 1,000 feet overhead.
So every turn there's something else.
This colossal skylight, where the chamber ceiling collapsed, is called a dolime, breathing life into this underground world. It's a lush green oasis. Our camp's white sand beaches lit up below.
It looks...
So you've already seen a few features there, right? We had a skylight, we had some white sand beaches, things you don't often find in caves. So please go ahead and watch all of that on your own. Very cool video and things we need to know for a potential quiz. Okay. Oh, no, don't look at that. Don't look at that. Okay. Again, try not to show question answers here. But if you see them, oh, it's okay. You'll find it. You're going to find it either way. All right. Our last 2 topics I need you to know is stalagmite versus stalactite. So stalactite versus stalagmite. What are these? I am talking about the, you know, those rock spikes that you see when you walk in a cave or when you look inside of a cave, right? What are those? Where do they come from? Well, there's two kinds. There's what we call the stalactite. And again, make sure to write what's in yellow, guys, on page 8. Write what's in yellow on page 8. There's the stalactite, which is the rock spike from the ceiling, hence why I put C is for ceiling. And there is the stalagmite, which is like an icicle-like structure, just like the stalactite, which is made of rock, but it's from the ground, right? So stalactite, rock structure hanging like an icicle from the roof of a cave. Keep in mind, these form because caves oftentimes have water in them, and when water drips from the ceiling of a cave, if it does that for a long period of time, we're going to see that rock get kind of pulled down into like an icicle. But instead of an icicle, it is a rock icicle. It's made of rock. So these are really cool, guys. Again, stalactite and then stalagmite. And make sure to write this down. So again, stalagmite is from the ground. It's a rock pile formed from the ground, okay, from the floor of a cave. And it's formed from the calcium salt drips coming from the cave. And sometimes, as this notes here, they fuse together. So pause the video. Make sure you got that down on page 8. We're not close to being done yet, so you probably need a page 8B if need be. But let's go ahead. Let's check out the. Sorry about that. Let's check out the animation I have here of stalagmites and stalactites. Oh, and here's a cool. Oh, we'll skip that. I mean, it's a cool video of some guys biking inside of a cave, right? Just cool visual effects, but no questions with it, right? Pretty cool stuff. Again, you just got to make sure you got a good light on your bicycle, right? And keep in mind, these guys are professional dirt bike bicyclers. So these are things you should not try without professional training and maximum safety equipment, right? I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is a cool trick I saw them do in the beginning.
1, 2, 3.
Wow. That is cool. That's really cool. Sorry. Anytime you get air of any kind on that stuff, it just always looks really cool. Let's take a look at the stalagmite stalactite video now. Maybe not as exciting, but very informal, very informative as you'll see here. So again, calcium salt drip from the cave. The top dripping, the top part is stalactite. The bottom mount is a stalagmite. Stalagmite, stalactites. The rock spikes in caves. We see the water dripping, right? And we see eventually what's going to happen. They're going to fuse together. All right, the last video I want to show, which is very important. We are the sinkhole capital of the United States. Okay? So, what does that mean? That means we need to be aware about sinkhole safety. Okay? So, number one, video questions. I need you to write this down on page 9. How do sinkholes form, or 7B? How do sinkholes form, and what's super important, what are sinkhole warning signs? So if a sinkhole is happening around where you live, what should you look for? What are the warning signs? Let's go ahead and check out what those possibilities can be, what that information can be. Again, but you got to watch all this on your own. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
Sometimes scary things called sinkholes. It's often joked that sinkholes are when the earth tries to gobble us up, but it had me wondering, just what are sinkholes? And how do they even form? Sinkholes are depressions or pits in the landscape that can have steep, rocky sides, look bowl-shaped, and even be homes to a small lake. Their size can vary greatly, and while they usually form gradually, they can also collapse suddenly. Mother Earth can be impatient when she's hungry. Sinkholes can most notably be found in karst terrains, which is a term for places throughout the world whose features are largely influenced by underground drainage. In addition to sinkholes, karst terrains of the world are
So go ahead, watch all of that on your own and find all those answers, guys. That concludes our lesson for today. Again, make sure you got page 8 filled out with all the different water erosions. We still have a few more to go over. We got lakes, sinkholes, springs. We're going to do sinkholes tomorrow, soil, and then caves, arches, and stacks. So you may probably need a page 8B if you don't have small, kind of smaller handwriting. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Don't forget notebook checks, turn those in. We'll have a unit quiz this Friday, maybe another new assignment coming up, maybe a writing assignment. And yeah, the rock labs, get those completed. I'll be grading all that soon. If you have any questions, message me on Canvas. This is Mr. Campbell signing out.